Go. So I'm going to show some parallels between the Taiji forms and linear bagua, hotien bagua, it's called. So in the hotien is divided into 8 houses. The first house is the house of snake, which is they call ward off in Taiji again, which looks like this. And the first house, number 8 in that house is this one. It's called bind. So this one kind of shows you press and ward off all together with a little rollback here. So that's the first house. The second house is the house dragon. So refer back to my earlier video when it comes to the animals, okay? So dragon is related to rollback. And so for this house, we have number 10, which is called conceal. And so there's your rollback. And then here's your press again. And then we have something that looks like that, which is kind of a closed hand version of ward off again. So dragon and snake are kind of related. Third house is tiger. So tiger is related to push, which is in all the Taiji forms very clearly. And looking number 18 in this house, which is kind of like a double push. And there's our wipe off and push that we see also in the Yang style, where they wipe off and push. And so that's number 18 in the hotien bagua. The next house is house of thunder, which is related to swallow. And swallow is about the wings of the bird. And so swallow is also about kicking a little bit. But so for swallow, we'll look at just number 25, the first one in the house, which is this. There's your needle at C bottom, and then your push again. So this move here is a version of ward off with a cross ward off. So you kind of see what the wings of the bird look like with this cross. And then the next house is the elbow house. The elbow house is related to house of wind, which is related a lot to elbow, which is clearly in Taiji is one of the 8. It's not always in the forms very clearly, but it's there. And so in this house, we look at this one, which is what we call traverse. And this has the ward off shape and rollback shape, and then adds the elbow and a back fist ward off kind of like that. So it kind of, the hotien also has a lot of xingyi in it as well. The next house, the house of fire, related to kicking, and of course we have kicking in Taiji. They kind of look like this, or maybe like this, or maybe like this. So in hotien bagua number 44 has these kind of, there's your rooster version, see it? And then we have this kind of spin kick, and then we have this kind of roundhouse low kick. So you see a lot of the kicks kind of blended. I'm only showing one from each house, just because for time's sake. Next house is house of earth. House of earth is again related to the spleen and also to chicken. So chicken's back to the birds. So we're looking at this. So this is a version of rollback. This is number 50. And then we have this version of press here. And then this big wipe off and needle at C bottom again. So you're kind of seeing how all of these pieces of the Taiji form were, came out of the linear bagua for me, at least. I'm trying to explain that. The last house is house of lake. And the house of lake has all the animals combined in one house. And so it's the next level, the next evolution of this system. And the house of lake, we'll look at this one, which is the first one in the house, which is pound. You can really look at any of them in the house, and that is a lot like these punches we have in the Tenpen Ling form. Also the piercing the ears you see in the Yang style form, the long form. So those are the 8 houses, really, really briefly. But when you look at all the houses together like this, with the Taiji form, you see that this is how they cross-train. And then you add the xingyi animals in there, and then you have this real blended cross-training regimen.
and protocol.
Okay, so